I want you to imagine the following, Sebastian, okay? Imagine when you go to sleep, yeah? You wake up in your bed, isn't it? I wake up, I go to sleep, I wake up in my bed, where I slept initially. But I want you to imagine the following example, okay? I want you to imagine that you go to sleep, wherever you go to sleep, and you wake up and you find yourself on a train, yeah? Now I want you to answer the following question. What would you ask? What's the first thing you'd ask yourself?
How did I get here?
How did I get here? What else would you ask?
Who put me here?
Who put you here? What else would you ask?
Where's the train going?
Okay, thank you very much. Now let me tell you something, right? What would you do if you woke up on the train and you saw people, you know, just living life and you just started doing what they do? And you had these questions that you wanted to ask, how did I get here, where am I, all these things, but you just suppressed them. What would you say of a person who suppresses these questions?
I'd say they become unhappy at some point. They wouldn't be able to suppress it any longer.
That's a good point. Would you also say that that person is critical or uncritical in their being, in their existential being?
Completely uncritical.
Uncritical. Is it justified to be uncritical in that way?
Absolutely not.
Okay, and the parable of the train is the parable of life. We woke up to a life, we woke up to a being here in this world. But we see now the Western, not to kind of knock Western culture, but I'm just saying that it's promoted nowadays that we shouldn't really think about these ultimate questions. We're on the train of life. We don't know whether we know one thing, we're going to die. We're on the train of life. We woke up and we're distracted by everything around us. But the questions which are most fundamental to our existential being, how did I get here? Where am I going? Who am I? Where am I? All of these questions that you asked yourself, these questions are not being asked. And I urge everyone, including yourself, to ask these questions. So if I ask you, how did I get here? That question, if we apply it to the context of Speaker's Corner of London, not just Speaker's Corner of London, let's just say to the world that we live in. How did you get here? The atheistic response is you got here in a way which we can't really understand. It could be the multiverse, it could be that nothing created something, it could be, like Krauss actually says, a universe from nothing. That's just, for me, it's an unsatisfactory response. How did we get here? Well, you know, don't worry about it too much, don't think about it, you know. What are we doing here? You make your own purpose, my friend. No, I mean, it doesn't seem that logical, does it? It doesn't follow. If you were on the train, you would not accept that particular logic. So I will ask you the question. What makes the best? Does it make sense to say? Does it make sense to say? How did you get here? You were created by an all-knowing entity. What you're doing here, that all-knowing entity has assigned and fixed a purpose for you. And where are you going? You're going to die. And there is something that's going to happen after death.